The Roman Empire was ruled by a series of families. The first were the Julio-Claudians, which produced leaders such as Julius Caesar, Augustus Caesar, and Emperor Nero, who ended the reign of this imperial family. Nero became emperor at the age of 17 in the year 54 AD. After 10 years, a fire started behind the Palatine Hill and turned into one of the worst fires Rome has ever seen, burning through the Palatine Hill, the Roman Forum, and through the residences that once stood in the Colosseum Valley. Over 60% of the territory of Rome had been destroyed, marking this disaster as the Great Fire of 64. When it came time for Nero to rebuild the housing that was destroyed by the fire, the emperor instead claimed all burnt land as imperial territory and began to build himself a new palace known today as the Domus Aurea. The extravagance of his palace was extreme, and his new land contained man-made lakes, parks, vineyards, and massive structures for his residence. The Colosseum Valley became the entrance of Nero's Golden House, marked by a massive gilded bronze statue, the height of the Colosseum, and depicting the sun god Helios, taking the face of the emperor himself. The statue was so big that the Romans called it the Colossus, which instantly gave the Roman people a feeling of superiority. The superstitious tendencies of the people rested the success and fate of the empire on this statue. Its importance cannot be overstated. As the public witnessed Nero's greediness, they blamed the emperor for starting the fire, and Nero was quick to shift the blame to a new cult that was gaining traction in the 1st century AD, the Christians. He ordered for all Christians to be caught and persecuted for the Great Fire of 64, and between 64 and 67, violent persecutions were carried out. Nero's rule deteriorated until he committed suicide in 69, just 4.5 years after the Great Fire. With Nero's death, the reign of the Julio-Claudian family was over. In ancient times, when a leader of Rome fell out of public favor, his existence was terminated. Statues that resembled him would be destroyed, inscriptions bearing his name would be rewritten, and the houses he lived in would be buried. Total erasure of Nero took place after his death, but there was one survivor, the Colossus. After Nero's passing, the Flavian family took control of the empire, producing leaders such as Vespasian, Titus, and Domitian. Vespasian had the difficult task of repairing people's faith in the political system. In an effort to return the land the people lost in the Great Fire back to them, he began the construction of one of the largest theaters Rome would ever see. The theater was begun in 72 AD and took 8 years to finish. Unfortunately, Vespasian died before the completion of the arena, and the structure was finished by his son Titus. The plan of the building was inspired by a Greek theater which is similar to every Broadway theater today, with actors behind the stage and the audience around the front and sides. But Vespasian wanted something more grand. The idea is that the architect would take 2 theaters and place them back to back, creating an oval stage and seating the audience around the entire perimeter, pushing the backstage underground and hidden out of sight. In 80 AD, Titus inaugurated the building as the Flavian Amphitheater, amphitheater meaning double theater, and celebrated its completion with 100 days of animal hunts, public executions, and gladiator games. The Colossus remained here in its original position and was neighbor to the Flavian Amphitheater until well into the 2nd century when it was moved. There is no record of the destruction of the statue, but it is likely that it was melted down for its metal in the Middle Ages, at which time the nickname of the statue was transferred to another symbol of Roman strength, the Flavian Amphitheater, known today as the Colosseum.